What's up, fam? I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. You're on my show I do every Monday. Protein Power, where guess what we talk about? Everything nutrition, all different types of goals, all different types of things you're trying to do, and how to master your nutrition. That's what we do right here on Protein Power. It's one of 5 awesome shows I do all week, every week for you. So that's why you want to make sure you subscribe, all right? Seriously, do it. Please do it. And then share the video if you get anything out of it, you guys. That's what helps me the most. I'm doing all this content for free, and I want to help as many people as I can. When you share it, you help more people, which helps me achieve my goal of helping as many people as possible, all right? Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to dive into men's physique, and we're going to talk about nutrition phases for builds, for preps, and everything you want to know about men's physique. It is Men's Physique Week. We'll be talking about men's physique all week. Another good reason to subscribe to the channel. And if you know anybody in men's physique, definitely tell them about the video, all right? Okay, so let's dive right on in. What is men's physique? Well, it is the male division of the NPC and the IFBB, where basically what we're looking at is more of the entry-level type division as far as the tier of divisions go for the male, okay? And what that means is basically, you know, we come into the men's side of things in the NPC and we got men's physique, then we go to classic, then we go to bodybuilding, so on and so forth. So a lot of people that are getting and competing for the first time, you know, they're getting into men's physique. And it's also one of the biggest divisions, period, in the sport of bodybuilding on the male side of things, okay? And so a lot of times guys will start in men's physique and then they might end up going into classic. They might do, you know, bodybuilding eventually, but, you know, sometimes they start at men's physique first and work their way up. It's kind of like, you know, for the women's side of things, bikini's more the entry level, and then from there, you know, goes into figure and beyond, okay? So that's what you got to know for that bit of that thing. Now, what are they looking for in men's physique? It's, you know, they're doing the board short division. So basically, in men's physique, the legs, not a huge important factor. So we talk about a lot of different divisions on this channel, and in men's physique, your legs are not a huge thing. You're covering them up actually for the most part with your board shorts and minimal calf training even. You know, a lot of men's physique guys do a little bit of legs, maybe no legs, okay? So really what they're looking at in men's physique is this upper body, and there's a lot of stuff that really comes into play with what's going on in the upper body, you know, development-wise and all that. We'll get more into that tomorrow when we're talking about the actual training on Iron Palace. But for today's sake, we got to understand there's a few things going on. Well-developed upper body, okay? They got a lot of muscle on the upper body these days, but they're also very lean, okay? So you're coming in lean in men's physique. You're not as lean as bodybuilders or classic physique for that matter, but you are definitely at a low percentile of body fat. You got to have pretty much visible abs in this division. You know, you want to have your obliques, you want to have all this kind of stuff going on, and the most important thing is you really get this taper, and that comes from, you know, being on a really good training program, but also dieting the right way to actually attain that, okay? So when we're looking at men's physique and we're talking about nutrition, like we are today, because it's Protein Power, we talk about nutrition every Monday. We got to talk about a few different factors, right? The phases that you got to do to attain the actual muscle build, which is going to be a little bit different than what you do when you actually prep. Actually, a lot of bit different, all right? So we're going to come back in just a second here right after this break, and I'm going to break down for you these different phases and let you know about this nutrition. By the end of this video, if you are a men's physique competitor or you are somebody that wants to do men's physique, you're going to have a lot more knowledge that's going to propel you on your journey either way, all right? We're going to talk about that in just a second.
1, 2, 3!
Phase 1, type men's physique, okay? You got to make sure you have your improvement season, your build type phase to attain the muscularity of this division, all right? In other words, you really have to have muscle on your upper body by a lot to create this V taper. And when we're talking about the muscle, we're talking about, you know, the shoulders, the chest, the back, the lats, the upper back even, you know, all this, abs, obliques, everything's going on in the upper body. You gotta have your arms, your biceps, your triceps, your forearms, everything's gotta be worked in this division. So, you know, it's more intensive muscularity-wise than by far just your average everyday everyday gym goer, okay? You're gonna have to train to get yourself ready for men's physique because for one, you gotta build that quality muscle. So that's what I wanna talk about first, this build phase for the nutrition. First, obviously, you know, this is a no-brainer. You gotta be following a dedicated training program. You wanna make sure you're training the right way to attain the look of men's physique, and that's not your average day gym bro type stuff. You know, you can't just have a chest day and a back day and all that and get a great physique that you can put on stage. You gotta have a dedicated training program, but what becomes equally as important and maybe more important becomes the nutrition side of things. And that's what we're talking about today on Protein Power, and every Monday we're talking nutrition, so make sure you subscribe, all right? Just plugging that real fast again. But, you know, when we're talking about men's physique nutrition in a build phase, we're really talking about doing a kind of wizardry of things, okay? Literally, you got to stay lean relatively because we got to be real lean for the stage. We already talked about that. And we also want to build quality muscle mass. So in other words, lean bodybuilding is really what you're doing in men's physique in a building phase. You want to be in the spot where you're adding muscle on, but you're not adding a ton of body fat, because what becomes a problem is every time you add a lot of body fat, you got to cut it all off when you go to stage, right? So it's almost like a oxymoron to even go do that. You know, there's a lot of competitors that do this the wrong way, the build phases. You know, you've heard of the terms dirty bulks and things like that, where they're eating whatever they want, doing whatever they want, training hard and heavy there, but they're, you know, at the end of the day, you can only put on so much muscle in an actual build phase for a certain amount of time, right? You can't add a ton of muscle. So a lot of times if you gain 30, 40 pounds in your improvement season, your off season, most of that is going to be body fat that you're just going to have to cut off, and it just puts you in a harder spot when you actually do prep, because you have a lot more body fat to cut, and at the end of the day you're going to get to the same amount of muscle anyway if you just did it the right way, which in my opinion is the lean build. You know, this kind of reverse diet where we talk about this all the time. So when I take a men's physique guy on and we're going to do something, I figure out where he's at, what he's been doing, okay? What muscle do we need to build? Do we need to build muscle? Great, let's build. And I reverse diet them. So I'm slowly increasing calories to basically bring up their metabolic rate, add on muscle mass, but minimize the amount of body fat we put on. In other words, I don't have people do free-for-all. I don't have them run. I will tell you guys this. Eventually, I reverse diet most of my men's physique competitors into the 4,000, 5,000, even 6,000 calories a day range for their improvement seasons, their off seasons, and even into preps. Very much a lot of food going on, and these dudes are shredded lean. And it's because of the fact that when you do a reverse diet the right way, when you know how to increase the protein, you know when to increase the carbs, you know when to bring up the fats and get these calories up, and you know, couple it with a good training program, you get a really good benefit of building the muscle and speeding up the metabolism to a way that you can eat and you don't have to starve yourself, and you're dieting and you look great and you're stage ready eating a lot of calories. That's the ideal. You know, I know that a lot of coaches do it the other way, and I know a lot of competitors do it the other way, and they're miserable on their prep. They hate every part of it, but it's just not what you want to be doing, okay? My opinion, but you know, at the end of the day, it's your opinion too if you've ever done it the other way. Here's the truth. When you're in this kind of build phase, your calories got to go up. It's something you got to understand, guys. I know a lot of you out there are so worried about, you know, staying lean or whatever, being at the right body fat. You don't eat enough food. And this becomes a huge, huge problem, all right? What you want to do is have a good amount of protein, at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. You know, it's always lean mass we talk about, but when you're in a phase like this where you're building, it's just safer to easier to go with your body weight. You know you're going to get the most proteins digested differently. You know, you're going to get a certain amount depending on what's in the label versus what you're actually digesting and utilizing for muscle growth. So I would say, you know, 1 gram per pound of body weight, in other words, is your safety net. It's good to go. Your carbs, we want to skyrocket your carbs. We want to get those up there as high as we can, because basically what we're doing is, you know, we're speeding your body up, we're putting on that muscle, and then when we cut that, we're just taking some hundreds of carbs off. You're already hundreds and hundreds of carbs. Very easy to diet like that and get stage shredded lean, okay? And your fats, you want to keep those up high. You want to always keep them at a moderate level to make sure that you're not, you know, going to tax your hormones and you're getting the most anabolic effect out of your diet. That's your kind of build, your kind of improvement season phase, and you want to continue to raise your calories as long as you need to continue to build the muscles until you're at the right proportion, the right size, the right area to do an actual prep. In the prep, what I've always said about the prep, it's your dieting phase. It's when you dial it in. We're going to talk about the prep right after this break. All right, so we talked about the build. Calories got to go up. You got to keep those climbing, keep them going up, juice it up, jack it up. Get that right proportion, get the right muscular size and density before you ever consider doing cut to step on stage, okay? And I know I'm saying a lot of stuff, and a lot of this might be brand new to you. Some of you out here might have been competing for a while and you know what I'm saying. Either way, you guys check out my free trial all the time. I'm telling you, seriously, go to my website, TeamFFLEX.com, check that out. I'll show you how to train for men's physique. We can talk about your nutrition, your prep, whatever you want to do. It's free coaching advice, no cards. You don't have to put information in, nothing. Totally free, give back to you. That's what we do this for. That's why we do it. We treat you just like a client, free for 7 days. You can sign up on TeamFFLEX.com. Strongly encourage it if you're competing men's physique or you're interested and you want some information, different perspective, ideas. We also do the coaching as well if you want to go the full route. But anyway, let's dive back in here now. We're talking about the prep phase next. So we talked about the build, and we know how it's going to work. Once we get the right muscularity, we get the right size, well, if we did it correctly, you should have stayed relatively lean. And this is why a lot of competitors, I say, you know, don't do this the right way. They get too much body fat, way too hard to cut, becomes a very long, hard, difficult prep. But if you did it the way I said, and you slowly, meticulously increased your macros in the amounts that were, you know, specific, custom for you, and based on what you're seeing in check-ins and everything else, you should be built, you should be bigger, and you should be, guess what, pretty lean still. So when it comes to dieting down for a stage, you might be able to get away with doing less than a 12-week prep. You know, that's what I do with some of these men's physique guys, because they're just, you know, they put on 20 pounds in the improvement phase that we did for whatever amount of months, and the most of it was muscle. They're in a pretty good spot. You know, they're in a good position to go to stage relatively shortly. We don't need a longer prep. You know, with a lot of other divisions, we see much longer preps, 12 weeks, 16 weeks sometimes, because of the factor of the conditioning they have to bring. Bodybuilding is far, far leaner than men's physique, actually, in other words. So we're talking about men's physique being at a conditioning level where you don't want to be hard shredded to the bone, but you do have to get lean. You got to show your muscles. You want to have, you know, your separations going on. You want to have separation from the chest to the abs, the shoulders, the back. You want to see those muscles. You got to see this in men's physique. Again, not training legs here a lot, and you know, you're not even really looking at them in this division from a judging perspective. It's board shorts. It's, you know, not a lot of leg days. It's a lot of upper body. Okay, so it's a lot of upper body work. We'll talk about the training tomorrow on Iron Pal, so subscribe if you want to see that. Make sure you don't miss it. But basically, when we're talking about dieting down for men's physique, we got to get to a conditioning level that is lean enough without being too lean. This becomes a problem. There's definitely men's physique guys that come in too lean, but then you start to resemble the conditioning level of these other divisions and actually scores you down. The key in the sport of bodybuilding, NPC, IFBB, all across the board is to fit the criteria of your division the best, and you will place the best. Now, the criteria of the division here is good conditioning, obviously. I mean, we got to have all those muscle separations we talked about, but you're not getting down to the micro percentile body fat that you see on bodybuilders, and if you're doing that, you're scoring worse, I'm telling you, okay? So at the end of the day, with a lot of the guys I coach, it becomes a factor of, oh man, we're so high in calories, we're so high in this, you know, amount of food that you got to eat, that now even just taking a little bit off the top is going to put you in the right spot, which is a very easy thing for, you know, a prep. A lot of the men's physique guys I coach actually tell me the hardest part of their prep is eating the food that I tell them they have to eat, and because it's so much, not because it's so little. But what happens out in the norm, in the way that you know, a lot of other coaches coach, is they'll just diet you too hard. They'll load you up with too much cardio, not enough calories, and you end up burning your muscle mass. It becomes a huge problem for a lot of men's physique guys on prep. Remember, the muscle is the key to our aesthetic in this division. You got to have that. We got to have the taper. We got to have all these things coming together so you can place the best. Now, when you drop your calories really low, really fast, and you add a bunch of cardio in, you all of a sudden start burning your muscle mass off, and you're going to see it going faster and faster and faster. And even if you do that, you're also scaring your body into this point where it starts to hold on to a lot of the body fat. It starts to even maybe accumulate more body fat in a dieting phase, which sounds crazy, but it will happen if you do this too extreme, too hardcore, too fast. So men's physique guys, same thing I say with all my other divisions. On prep, always eat as much as you possibly can and do as little cardio as possible while still getting results. That's what you should always be doing. It's going to harbor the best muscle retainment. You're going to keep your muscle on you, and you're going to get leaner without putting your body into survival shock mode, where now you're having this hard time trying to combat all this, you know, your body's holding on to all this fat and you're losing your muscle. You're not going to get to stage good. It takes a long time to build muscle, guys. It takes a long time and a lot of effort to maintain maintain it too, and especially in a dieting phase. Don't do it wrong, and you're going to end up in a much better spot. You're going to place better, you're going to look better, you're going to do better, and you're going to be able to go longer in the sport, do more shows a year, and so far, and so beyond that. I'm not exactly done with what I got to say about nutrition for men's physique. We'll talk more in just 1 second. I'm going to keep hitting that hammer on the head, that nail on the head, in other words, right? With the hammer, nail. Because the truth is, you guys, this is the biggest problem in men's physique. You're putting on too much body fat in the off season, and it's becoming way too hard for you to cut. You end up burning yourself out, having a miserable experience, bad prep, and you get to stage not good. You're either too soft still, or you dieted so hard you came in with better conditioning and lost muscle. Big problem. Off-season nutrition, slowly reverse those calories up. Keep those calories coming in, keep it going in, and then get it to a high point, and make sure you attain the right, level of muscle you need for this division before you diet for stage. When you diet for the stage, biggest problem I see all the time, I hear from guys I take on to the team, everything else, is that they were dieted too hard too fast. They ended up in this spot where calories very low, doing an hour and a half of cardio, 2 hours of weights. That's going to set you up for burning all your muscle off you and keeping your body fat on you. And it just doesn't ever produce a good result. What you want to do in the blend, and my go-to for telling you how to get yourself dieted right for men's physique either way, is in your off season, figure out how to eat as much as you can. Take enough time to reverse diet, keep adding calories in, get more and more, get your macros in a really high spot, really good spot, maintain your muscle, maintain, your aesthetic, obviously, that we need, build whatever you need, and then when you cut, you're going to do it as slow as you can. We want to preserve the muscle. We want to keep the carbs up, keep the proteins up, keep them fats up, drop a little bit off the top. And I won't even add cardio in for men's physique unless I need to. And I know that's crazy to say, but a lot of times if you do this diet right, you do it right in the improvement season, the off season, you do it right in the prep season, you don't need a lot of cardio. You can get shredded lean to the right level for this division easy with doing just like I said, okay? So that's key. That's what I want to make sure you all know and you understand. You got to do this. This is what you have to do at the end of the day. It's the only way to get your best. I know a lot of people struggle through a lot of these other problems. They go through these preps that are terrible and all that. It's just not going to serve you, dudes. And just like I talk about the ladies getting hormone problems and all that, you will get that too. You will get in a spot where your metabolism is jacked up. You will get in a spot where your testosterone and all your other hormones are jacked up. You'll get into a spot where you can't prep anymore and you're not bringing your best, and you're definitely not going to get yourself to an IFBB Pro stage or anything like that doing any type of prep like that. If anybody needs help, you're still here, you made it this far, this video was helpful to you, but maybe you want a little more, I seriously strongly encourage you, go to my website, TeamFFLEX.com. I will tell you how to get this right. I will show you workouts that you should be doing. I will show you what to do. I will help you in whatever way I can. Let me know and we will do that for you. That's what we do at TeamFFLEX. It's a free trial, no cards, no obligations, nothing. You come check it out, you can walk away with more knowledge. That's my hope, that's my goal, and I hope you do, okay? Because we got men's physique guys coming to stage this year, lighting fires, and I hope to see you there competing against them, all right? So do me a favor, fam, if you got anything out of the video today, subscribe to the channel and share the video. I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. Be back tomorrow. Men's physique on the Iron Palace. We're talking about training for the men's physique division. See you then. Coach Rye is out.